You ever find yourself asking, why do some men chase me hard and then ghost me just as fast? Or maybe you've been in a situation where everything felt right, great chemistry, deep convoys, romantic energy, but suddenly he pulls back, and you're left wondering if you ever mattered at all. Welcome to the confusing, exhausting, emotionally chaotic world of modern dating, where being an option has become more common than being a priority. Here's the brutal truth. Men treat women very differently based on how they categorize them. You're either the one or you're just one of many. And that categorization, it often happens faster than you think. This video isn't about bashing men. It's about giving you clarity. It's about finally understanding why some men give you the world, while others breadcrumb you into self-doubt. Today we're diving deep into how men truly act when a woman is an option versus when she's seen as the one. We'll decode the psychology, the signals, the patterns, and most importantly, we'll show you how to recognize it early before you invest your heart in someone who's never planning to hold it. If you've ever felt confused by his mixed messages, tired of being strung along, or curious if you're with someone who actually sees a future with you, this is the video you didn't know you needed. Let's get real, raw, and completely unfiltered. Because your time, your energy, and your heart deserve truth, not temporary attention. Let's begin. Have you ever met a guy, felt an instant connection, shared deep conversations, and thought, this could actually be something? And then, out of nowhere, he starts pulling away. Less effort, less interest, less everything. You're left confused, asking yourself, what changed? But the better question is, what was he thinking from the start? Here's the truth. Most people won't say out loud, men don't treat all women the same, because they don't see all women the same. Within the first few interactions, a man is already deciding, consciously or not, whether you're just someone he's attracted to, or someone who could actually shape his future. It happens fast. And if you don't know how to read those decisions, you'll start chasing clarity from someone who already made up his mind. When a man meets a woman, his brain starts connecting dots. How does she carry herself? Does she respect herself? Does she spark something in me that feels different from the usual? But most importantly, how do I feel about myself when I'm with her? That feeling determines everything. Not her looks, not how nice she is, not even how much she seems to like him. It's how he feels in her presence, and whether she activates something deeper than just desire. Now here's where things get even more real. A man can meet the most incredible woman and still not commit. Why? Well, because commitment isn't just about who she is. It's also about where he is. Emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Men commit when it makes sense in their internal world. If he's not ready, he'll resist, even if you check every box. And that disconnect is where so many women get stuck, trying to prove they're enough for someone who's not even sure who he is yet. But let's flip this, because when a man is ready, when he feels emotionally safe, mentally clear, and sees a woman who holds herself with undeniable value, he doesn't hesitate. He decides, fast, not because he's pressured, not because he's afraid of losing her, but because her presence feels like alignment. And alignment creates action. Men don't invest deeply in women who are constantly available, overly accommodating, or afraid to walk away. They invest in women who command respect without demanding it, who show care without self-abandonment, who reflect back to them the kind of future they want, but with or without them. This is what separates an option from the one. It's not about being perfect, it's about being powerful in your presence. That emotional standard you set, he feels it instantly, and it either inspires him or intimidates him, but it never leaves him indifferent. If you're tired of guessing what a man wants, stop focusing on what you can do to earn his choice, and start noticing how he responds to your standards. That's the only feedback you need, because real recognition doesn't take time, it takes clarity, and the men who are clear never make you wonder. Let's keep going. You're about to see the exact behaviors that reveal where you stand. Let's talk about the difference between how a man treats the one and how he treats someone who's just an option. Because the contrast, it's massive. And once you learn to see it, you won't unsee it. When a woman is an option, a man is inconsistent. He might show up strong at first, texting, flirting, planning dates, but it always fades. You'll notice his energy is hot and cold. He checks in, but it feels more like maintenance than effort. He gives just enough to keep you from walking away, but never enough to build something real. You're left guessing, overthinking, wondering if you did something wrong. But it's not about what you did. It's about where he placed you in his mind. Now contrast that with how a man acts when he sees you as the one. He's present, intentional. You don't have to chase clarity. He gives it to you. You don't have to guess how he feels. He shows you. He doesn't breadcrumb you with vague messages or last-minute plans. He makes room for you in his life because he already sees you in his future. He wants to be known by you, understood by you, and connected to you. His actions match his words. There's follow-through. There's consistency. There's care. It's not about grand gestures or expensive gifts. It's about emotional effort. When you're the one, he protects your feelings. He pays attention. He's tuned in to how his presence or his absence impacts you. And more importantly, he honors that connection. But here's what's wild. It's not always about you being better than the other women he's dated. It's about what you represent to him. You embody the life he wants to build. You reflect the version of himself he's ready to become. That's why he treats you differently. That's why everything shifts. If he sees you as an option, your absence won't shake him, because in his mind, you were never permanent. But if he sees you as the one, the idea of losing you hurts. It creates urgency. It activates accountability. He wants to show up, not because he's scared to lose you, but because he respects what you bring into his life. A man may like several women, but he chooses the one who makes him feel like he's stepping into a higher version of himself. That's the woman he doesn't take for granted. That's the woman who shifts from nice to have to I can't risk losing her. So ask yourself this. Are you being treated like someone who's just convenient for now, or someone who's worth building forever with? Because once you stop tolerating option energy, you open the door for the kind of man who only knows how to treat you like the one. Let's keep going, because next we're calling out the red flags that show you're being seen as just an option, no matter what he says. You know that sinking feeling you get when something's off, but you can't quite explain why. Like he's there, but not really. You keep telling yourself he's busy, he's tired, he's stressed, but deep down, you're starting to feel it. You're not a priority. You're just an option. And let me say this clearly. If you feel like you're an option, you probably are. So let's break it down, because there are clear red flags that show when a man is keeping you around without truly choosing you. The first big sign, inconsistency. 1 week, he's all over you, calls, texts, compliments, maybe even a date or two. The next week, silence, vague excuses, maybe a random hey text just to keep the door open. That push and pull rhythm, that's not love, it's access. He's not nurturing the connection. He's just making sure you don't close the door completely. Second sign, you initiate most of the connection. You're the one checking in. You're the one planning time together. If you stopped reaching out, you have a gut feeling he might not notice, or worse, not care. When a man sees you as the one, he initiates consistently, because staying connected to you is important to him. Next, he avoids talking about the future. Anytime the topic of commitment, exclusivity, or next steps comes up, he shifts the energy. Maybe he jokes about it. Maybe he says, let's not ruin what we have, or I'm just going with the flow. But here's the thing, when a man wants a future with you, he's excited to talk about it. Not scared, not dismissive, not vague. Another major red flag, he keeps you compartmentalized. You've never met his close friends. His family doesn't even know you exist. You feel like you're in a secret relationship that only happens when it's convenient for him. If you're not being integrated into his world, it's because he's not planning for you to be part of it long term. And let's talk about your emotional safety. If you can't express your needs, if you feel like every time you ask for clarity or reassurance you're too much or needy, that's manipulation. A man who sees you as an option will make you feel guilty for simply wanting emotional honesty. A man who values you won't make you beg for basic respect. Lastly, and this one's huge, you feel anxious more than you feel secure. You're constantly questioning where you stand. You reread texts. You analyze the gaps between his replies. You feel like you're in a relationship by yourself. And that's not love. That's emotional survival. So ask yourself, if he stopped texting you tomorrow, would your entire connection disappear? Because if it would, that's not someone who sees you as the one. That's someone who keeps you around for comfort, attention, or convenience, but not commitment. You deserve more than that. And in the next section, we're going to flip the script, because when a man does see you as the one, everything changes. Let's talk about what that actually looks like. So now that we've broken down how it looks when a man treats you like an option, let's flip the energy. Because when a man sees you as the one, his behavior doesn't leave you confused. It doesn't keep you guessing. And it sure doesn't feel like a one-sided effort. It feels safe. It feels intentional. It feels like clarity. One of the first unmistakable clues is this: he makes you feel emotionally seen and secure. Not just when it's easy or convenient, but consistently. He's tuned in. He checks in. He notices things like your mood, your silence, or your energy. And he cares enough to ask, not just assume. You're not just a part of his day, you're a priority within it. Next, you'll notice he puts effort into understanding you, not just spending time with you. He listens closely. He remembers what matters to you. He brings up little things you said in passing weeks ago, and you realize he's paying attention. He's not just with you, he's present. And here's a big one. He makes room for you in his life. You're not a weekend plan or a late night thought. You're woven into his world. He wants you to meet his people. He talks about his goals and includes you in them. You're not a question mark in his future. You're part of the blueprint. He also doesn't play games with communication. There's no disappearing act, no 3-day waits, no passive-aggressive one-word replies. If he can't respond right away, he'll tell you. If something's on his mind, he shares it. Honest communication becomes the norm, not the exception. And here's something even deeper. He respects your boundaries. When you say no, he hears you. When you set a standard, he rises to meet it. He doesn't pressure, push, or test your limits. Because real men don't challenge your boundaries. They honor them. Why? Because they see you as someone worth protecting, not manipulating. Another unmistakable sign. He shows up when it's hard. It's easy to be there for the good times. Dates, laughs, passion. But when life hits, stress, conflict, misunderstandings, he doesn't run. He works through it with you. He fights for the relationship, not in it. That's how you know he's not here for a season. He's here because he values you, not just what you give him. And most importantly, he leads with clarity. From how he introduces you to how he talks about the future, there's no confusion. You know where you stand. You don't have to guess, because his actions have already answered the question. When a man sees you as the one, love isn't complicated. It's clear. It's not about perfection or constant intensity. It's about steady, intentional presence. It's about effort without prompting. It's about making you feel like the rare woman you are, without you needing to prove a thing. And the best part, when he sees you that way, he'll make sure you see it too. Coming up next, how to take back your power if you realize you've been settling for less, and how to shift from being an option to becoming unforgettable. Let's have some real talk right now. There's this narrative floating around that men are complicated, that they need to figure things out, that they don't know what they want. But let me tell you something from a place of truth. When a man knows, he knows, period. He doesn't need months of testing. He doesn't need you to prove your worth. He doesn't need more time to think. When a man meets a woman who activates something deeper in him, something that feels rare, genuine, real, he feels it fast, and he doesn't play with it. He protects it. We need to stop entertaining the idea that unclear behavior is normal. It's not. It's tolerated. When a man is unsure about you, it's not because he's confused. It's because he's not convinced. And if he's not convinced, it's not your job to become more convincing. You'll know when a man knows because he starts moving differently. He starts speaking from certainty. He starts making space for you in his schedule, in his future, and in his heart. He shows consistency without being asked. He communicates even when it's uncomfortable. He makes it known that he sees you as more than just a temporary connection. And here's what's powerful. When a man sees you as the one, he doesn't just want you, he respects what it means to have you. He doesn't fear commitment. He fears losing a woman who brings out the best in him. A woman who feels like peace, like home, like growth. This doesn't mean the relationship will be perfect. No connection is. But the difference is, he won't risk losing you over his ego, his games, or his comfort zone. He'll show up, not only when it's convenient, but especially when it's not. It's not that love makes him a perfect man. It's that loving you makes him want to be better. It activates his protector, his provider, his emotional depth. When he knows, he starts choosing you daily, not just when it feels easy or exciting, and you won't have to beg, guess, or hope. Ladies, the moment you stop waiting for a man to wake up and start recognizing how a real one acts when he knows, you'll stop chasing clarity and start demanding alignment. Because let's be honest, if he's still figuring it out after weeks or months of you showing up, loving hard, and being consistent, then deep down he already knows, he just doesn't want to admit you're not his priority. Let that sink in. A man who knows doesn't stall. He doesn't breadcrumb. He doesn't treat you like a placeholder while he shops around for options. When he knows, it's obvious. And if it's not obvious, that is your answer. Coming up next, if you have been seen as just an option, don't panic. You have more power than you think. Let's talk about how to shift that dynamic and step back into your worth. So let's say you're watching this and realizing, wow, I've been the option. Maybe not intentionally, maybe not for the first time, but it's hitting now. And you're asking yourself, is it too late to shift the dynamic? Here's the good news. It's never too late to shift, especially when the shift starts with you. First, you have to understand this. Being seen as an option doesn't mean you're not worthy of being the one. It just means somewhere along the way you're showing up is giving him more access than he's earned. It means the energy is imbalanced. You're investing deeply in someone who hasn't proven they're ready to hold that space with you. So the first shift is energetic. You need to stop overgiving to someone who's under-delivering. That means pulling back, not to play games, but to realign your value. When you stop making yourself constantly available, when you stop filling in his effort with yours, you create a gap, and that gap forces clarity. If he steps up, that tells you something. If he disappears, that tells you everything. Next, you have to raise your emotional standards. A lot of women think they need to look a certain way, act a certain way, or say the right things to become the one. But men don't fall in love with perfection. They fall in love with how they feel around a woman who holds herself to a higher standard. So start protecting your peace. Stop accepting breadcrumbs. Stop waiting for a man to give you permission to feel chosen. You don't ask to be prioritized. You position yourself in a way that makes it non-negotiable. And this is important. Learn to lean back. When you give a man space to show you where he stands without you steering, controlling, or rescuing the connection, you get real answers, not assumptions, real answers. And yes, sometimes the answer will hurt, but you know what hurts more? Wasting months or years, hoping for effort that was never going to show up. Another key shift: stop leading with potential. Stop trying to become the exception to a man's pattern of avoidance. Look at what he's showing you now, not who you think he could be if you love him enough. Love isn't a transformation project. If a man is serious, he'll do the work without needing you to carry the relationship on your back. Finally, make peace with walking away. The moment you become okay with letting go of anyone who treats you like an afterthought, you become magnetic. You're no longer chasing validation. You are the validation. And the right man, he won't need convincing. He'll recognize it. He'll respond to it. And he'll rise to meet it. The shift from option to priority doesn't start with changing him. It starts with remembering who you are. And next, we're going to bring it all together with one final reminder that could completely rewire how you show up in love from this moment forward. We've covered a lot today, from understanding the subtle and not so subtle ways a man treats you when you're just an option, to recognizing the unmistakable signs that you are the one. But before we wrap up, let me leave you with this. The power to change your love story has always been and always will be in your hands. The biggest truth you need to hold on to is this: you deserve to be prioritized, not parceled out. You deserve a love that feels steady, sure, and sacred, not one that leaves you guessing or questioning your worth. When you embrace this truth, everything shifts. Your energy shifts, your boundaries shift, and the way you attract love shifts. So, what do you do next? First, take a moment to reflect honestly on where you stand right now. Are you being treated like an option, or are you feeling that steady, clear commitment? If the answer is unclear or leaning toward the former, it's time to pause and reset. Start by setting your standards and boundaries, not as a way to punish or manipulate, but as a way to protect your heart and your peace. Communicate clearly what you will accept and what you won't. And then, most importantly, show up for yourself by living those standards every single day. Next, stop chasing someone who isn't ready or willing to meet you where you are. Pull back your energy from trying to convince him to love you the way you deserve. Instead, focus on yourself, your growth, your happiness, your passions. When you become whole on your own, you send a powerful message: you won't settle, and you know your worth. Remember, the right man will not just want you, he will show it, consistently and clearly. He won't leave you wondering where you stand. And when that happens, you won't need to question or doubt. You'll just know. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss what's coming next. Drop a comment below sharing your biggest takeaway or any questions you have. I'm here to help you through this journey. Thank you for trusting me with your time and heart today. You're on the path to becoming the woman who demands and receives the love she truly deserves.